Okay, so again, checking to see if the mic is working. And yeah. All right, so we're into ACL Diaries number two. I've just completed week 1 to 4 post operation, and what I've done is kind of every day I've just done a little note on what's improved or what I've been able to do in the gym, and I'm just going to run through the bullet points from basically day 1 to day 28, which I've written out in front of me. So what I've decided to do, and what I think is a good idea for anyone doing this, is to get yourself an Excel sheet. What I've done is wrote down like the day of operation, then the rest of the month, and I've done day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 1 being the day after your operation, and I've put down exactly what's happened. So am I dependent on crutches? Can I drive? Can I walk with one crutch? What's it like to walk without them? How's rehab going? What kind of strength movements can I move on to? Things like that. So it's just been a nice way for me to track things, just because you can kind of get lost in the shitty experience of rehabbing and kind of think, at times when you're doing it, you're thinking there's no progress here, but then you go and you look back and you see the progress is clear. So I'm just going to start from day 1. I'll pick out some points along the way, and I'll go through kind of, I suppose, key improvements that I've had. So the first one is my surgery was on a Friday, so day 1 was the Saturday for me. Now the Friday, the first thing is I got out at about 4 o'clock, and my friend was bringing me home, and I decided to get a cup of coffee, and then on the way back I was like, oh, I'll take my meds now, on an empty stomach with caffeine in the system. And I had to get him to pull over about 2 or 3 times because I thought I was going to puke or faint. So keep that in mind. Try get some food in the system. Caffeine's probably a bad idea. Later on that night then, the painkillers are very strong. I came home, was home for about an hour, and then got in the car and went to go watch my club play a match, and sat in a pair of shorts on the bench and watched the whole game, and not bothering me. I could kind of sit down with a 90-degree angle on the knee and tip around and couldn't feel too much. Now day 1, the Saturday, that was really painful. It was probably going to be painful anyway. I probably didn't help it. So it was more pain. I got up at about 8 in the morning and went to the couch. Every 2 hours I tried to do my rehab, which just involved me tensing my quad, raising my leg off the bench, bringing my heel towards my bum, and pointing my toe up and down and things like that. So really light stuff that you get in the hospital, and that's what I did for the first 2 weeks, basically every few hours. Fell asleep on the couch that day. I think I got up at about 6 in the evening. I was on the couch for pretty much the whole day. I got up at about 6 and went for a walk with the crutches and the dog, and my partner. So I didn't do much else that day. There's not much to report on, just that I took quite a lot of meds. The swelling started to come up that day and the next day as well. So then the Sunday, day 2, I just wanted to get a bit of movement in. So I went into an assault bike, out to the assault bike, and I did just 60 minutes. I did 60 minutes of just arms. Every 3 minutes I hopped off and did 5 pull-ups and 10 push-ups, and just repeated that. Was there a need? No, but I just mentally wanted to prove that I could do something, or that I wasn't fully useless. And for me, I found it quite good just to get that feeling back again of normality. It's very hard to emulate the feeling you'll get when you're training with a team or when you're playing sport. So anytime I can kind of get that, or do something that gives me that feeling or that sweat, I'll probably do it for a while, just for my own head. Then day 3 was when I got on the bike for the first time with my feet. So the surgeon, I did ask him, it was the Friday, I said, look, when can I get on a bike? And he said, if you have a bike at home or whatever bike you have, he said, put a chair behind it and kick. So obviously one of those ones that are sitting back in this sort of position. So luckily the public gym across the road, or up the road from me, has one of those bikes that you can sit back on. Went on that, kind of pissed around in it for 5 minutes, getting the seat height right and things like that. And once I got it going in rotations, even though it was really slow, quite not painful, but very uncomfortable, I did that for 60 minutes, and that was very boring, quite sore, never really got fully going on it, just got a bit of rotation on it. And he had said come the Monday or Tuesday I could do that, and obviously I went in to do it the Monday because I was over eager. For the next few days then, I've noted here, so the day 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I was on the bike. I did 30 minutes on the bike pretty much every day. I did 60 minutes on the bike one of the days. The days I did 30 minutes on the bike, I did a little bit of upper body or core or other work with it. So there was one day, day 6, it was day 5, I did lower accessories. So I just made sure I did some work on my good leg. So single leg hip thrust, single leg box squats, single leg RDLs off of my left leg, my good leg. And then in terms of both legs together, I did 30-inch box squats. Now, 30-inch box squats is barely squatting for me. It's about a quarter squat. And again, I'd be always preaching that just work within your limits and progress them. Don't feel that just because you can't go to a deep squat doesn't mean you can't train your squat or things like that. So what I did here was I marked out the progressions. So for me, day 5 was when I did the squat to the 30-inch box. I think it's just over 30 inches, the one I have. Then the next day I did those was on day 8. I did them again, kept it at 30 inches. So that's day 5, day 8. Then as I look here, I can see on day 11, I did a 24-inch box and a 20 kg or a 10 kg plate. So I just have 24-inch box and plate. And then the next day was down at day 15, where I did a 24-inch box and a 10 kg plate. So yeah, I've noted here the last day was a 24-inch box and a 20 kg plate. So you can see there within 2 weeks I've come from 30 inches, 24 inches and a 20 kg plate, 24 inches and a 10 kg plate. And then the next one I have here is a 24-inch box with an 8 kg on day 18. So that's just over the 2 week mark. So nearly up on the 3 week mark, I am doing a 8 kg box squat on a 24 inch, and I get down to 20 inches with the 10 kg weight the following week. So again, because I've noted these, it's very simple for me to go and look at the progression. So I've gone from body weight at 30 kg in the space of 4 weeks to yesterday I was doing 12 kg at around 20 inches. So that to me is good progress, and I'm staying within my pain. Now the physio has said after 3.5 weeks or 3 weeks, he was saying I could go into a leg press and a full squat. Not a full squat, but a squat, body weight squat. But I'm still really nervous with that, so I'm just squatting to a box and I haven't got on the leg press yet. I just want a little bit more knee flexion before I do. Looking at this then, the points is I needed 2 crutches for 8 days. So 8 days I was pretty reliant on the 2 crutches. Up until from day 8 to day 17. So from the first Saturday to the following Monday, I pretty much was on 1 crutch for the week. And I went back to work this week and verbal coached, and it was fine. But I was pretty much on 1 crutch for the second week. So 2 crutches for the first week and an extra day or 2. Second week was 1 crutch for just over a week, and then I've been off crutches for 2 weeks. The first week off crutches very tiring. I brought a crutch into work with me. I work in a gym, so I'm on my feet a lot. But it was quite tiring that week. And then the weekend just gone has been the 4th weekend, and I was up Sleafbaugh on a mountain up the road. Again, going up, not the problem, coming down, baby steps. And obviously I'm not able to move at much speed, so it's more so just about kind of moving up and down and seeing how it was. For me, you're meant to get your bandages, sorry, there's something blowing in front of me. For me, you're meant to get your bandages off around day 10. On my day 10, I went to take my bandages off, and my outside of my knee, the incision was wide open. So I was meeting the physio the next day, so I put the bandage back on, put a clean one on top of it just to make sure it was staying there. I asked the physio the next day, and I went and got steri strips, and what I did was just pinched it together myself and closed it with steri strips. Probably could have went and got a nurse to do that, but or another physio, but I mean, I didn't think it was that difficult or that big of a thing, so I just did it myself. And then I waited another 8 to 9 days. So I've noted here my bandages officially came off on day 18 for me. So on day 18 they all came off and they were closed. I wanted them to be closed obviously so I could start my pool rehab. So ideally, you know, they're closed by day 10, and day 14, 15 you're getting into the pool, even just to walk around. But for me, I didn't get into the pool until day 20. For me, sorry, not day 20, until day 23, which was a Sunday, 3 Sundays after. So there was no pool for me till then, which was fine. I kind of just got on with everything. What other notes have I here? So yeah, the other progressions. Oh yeah, so I put this up on my story the other day. For conditioning and cardio, kind of what am I doing now? For me, I I could get you could get away with doing nothing. Like, it's what month is it now? It's just starting in June. I'll not be playing football till next March, probably when the league starts. I'll not be back on the pitch. Well, I'll not be back fully ready until January, and even at that, that's just the beginning of my stage. So I could leave off cardio, but I don't really want to. So I'm doing at the moment, and what I've put my focus into is 30 minutes on the assault bike. Now, there's a few times I've gone to the public gym before the pool or whatever, and I've done 60 minutes of intervals, like 2 minutes easy with the dampener and easy, 2 minutes moderate, 2 minutes hard, and I've just gone for 60 minutes. Obviously, within your limits, I'm not going to be going as hard as I can. But what I have been doing to measure it is the assault bike. Usually I go with the seat on number 6 before injury. Now I'm up to seat number 9, and I've kept it at 9 for the first month just to limit the range. I feel I will come down to 8 in the next week or two. I just want to keep it at 9 for now. The reason being is, so the way I'm tracking it is I'm just going 30 minutes and I'm going tracking my calories each time. And the goal for me is simple, just get a few more calories than the last. Even if I feel I could way outblow the calories I did before, I just keep it within line that I'm just getting a few more. So on the notes here, the first week didn't track any calories. I just wanted to get rotation and wanted to get movement on the knee. So I just wanted to get full rotations in the bike and be able to move. But from week 2, my first session on the Monday, I got 233 calories in the bike. I noted down that 8 minutes before my legs started to feel kind of comfortable and fluid got in, and I felt a little bit of power. So it took 8 minutes in or around. So that was 233. Now, that was the Monday. On the Wednesday, that dropped to 162 calories in the same amount of time. And that is because I was back to work the Tuesday. Before, I was in the physio that morning, and that night I did a good bit of physio work. So I did box squats. After a 6-hour shift of coaching, I did box squats. I did calf raises. I did tibialis raises, wall sits, quarter split squats, things I was allowed to get. So a lot of the stuff I've been getting is moving within a range, so just within a comfort. So for me, split squats or lunges or anything like that has been really like limited in my movement. I'm not even really coming down halfway for the first 2 or 3 weeks. Now, in the last week, I have been getting my back knee towards the floor, kissing the floor, but I am using something assisted, so I'm grabbing onto a rack or grabbing onto something there. With me, I have a hamstring graft as well, so it's a little bit different. So knee flexion is slower to come back. That bend in the knee is a little bit slower to come back. Plus, I have to rehab. I'm basically, the surgeon said the physio said it's like I'm walking around with a grade 2 or grade 3 hamstring tear, because they took 2 hamstring tendons from my hamstring, and put it onto my knee in form of an ACL. So that means I'm going to have to go through a full rehab session, a rehab program on my hamstring. So if I was looking at someone else's and I saw they were doing leg curls and leg extensions, someone else's rehab program at around week 4 or 5, it's probably because they had their patellar tendon made into a ligament rather than their hamstrings. So my rehab's going to look a little bit different, but they're both the same timeline until your return to play. So it doesn't make much odds. Luckily for me, I've never ever had hamstring injuries before, so hopefully they don't start after this. If I had a big history of hamstring injuries or a big injury history of pulling or doing any sort of damage to that body part, I would be a lot more anxious about it. But because my hamstrings have been pretty good, I'll do the work on it. I'm not too worried about that. They'll be fine. As I said, I've got 8 or 9 months to work on them anyway. So my bike performance went way down the day after I had physio work and gym session that night, which is normal. I even had a note in my Excel just saying I was very tired. Didn't really feel the power come back in that at all. But then 2 days later, I was up to 239 cal. So I went 233, it went 162 and then 239. And since then, it's gone 249, 279, 283, 290 and 305. So I've been going up, up and up. And I'm doing that every 2 to 3 days. I'm getting on the bike a lot of the time. The days I get on the bike, more often than not, I'll do upper body those days as well. And every other day, I'll do lower body rehab, or I'll do stuff on my good leg or conditioning with slam balls and things like that. So I am keeping pretty active every day. I've had probably 2 rest days since surgery, and you know, that sounds heavy, but one of those days could be me walking around a pool for 20 minutes and doing a few squats in the pool and things like that. So it's not overly hectic. It's more so mentally fatiguing. Other things to note is so when I got the go ahead to do certain movements, so the box squats was pretty much the first thing. Now, after week 3 or after my third go with the physio, I got the go ahead to start pushing sleds. So for me, the sleds began on day 24. So I got to introduce sleds and step downs from a small box. So I used two 20 kg plates in my first session, and in my second session, two 25 kg plates just to bring the height up. I hold a stick and I just focus on coming down very slowly with my heel in front of the box. Some people call it a Peterson step up or Peterson step down. And I just did those for 3 or 4 sets of 8 to 12 reps is pretty much what I keep everything. Within the pool, he said once I'm able to start kicking, I can kick, but it's very uncomfortable to do that yet. I'm not at that area. So what I'll do is I will grab onto the side. The last day I was in the pool, I walked around for 5 minutes, backwards, forwards, marched 5 to 10 minutes. Then I'll grab onto the side and I'll do 20 squats, 20 reverse lunges alternating, and 10 step ups on the steps each side. And I'll do that for 5 rounds. And that's what a pool session will look like to me for now. Now, I'm just about squatting to parallel. The lunges are fine. But on 1 or 2 of the squats, I kind of let go of the wall, and it was quite painful when I was towards the bottom end of the squat, or it was quite uncomfortable. So I'll still be grabbing the wall for another while, I imagine. As I said, I'm just 4 weeks in. So I know I was kind of all over the place there. I didn't really know how I was going to factor this in. What I would say the best thing to do is, if you're looking at this and you are unsure where to go, just look up my name on Instagram, Complex Fitness. And in the highlight reel, I've put in the highlights, I've put in my prehab. So from injury to surgery, every gym session I've done, there's reels thrown in there, there's videos, there's explanations. Then I just made a highlight of week 1 to 4, where I put in all my workouts from week 1 to 4. And on the top of that, a lot of them I've put like day 1, day 4, day 8. So you can see exactly where the progressions are. And I've just made one week 4 to week 8, which I'll start to add to as I go on as well. So the goal really, I know before in the last video I said my goal was simple. It was to get the swelling down, get my range of motion back, and start to move freely. I'm thereabouts. Now for me right now, my knee, let's say after I was driving for the first 3 weeks, I need 10-20 minutes before it limbers up after driving, even if it was only half an hour. Now it's not as bad. But for me, what kind of is happening is the straightening out is getting difficult, and it feels like my hamstring is pulling at times when I go to straighten it out. So once I feel I'm walking around for a while, it's okay. If I'm just sat in position, it kind of stiffens up. So for me, every few minutes at work, I'll get up and I'll do my usual rehab, or I'll just stand. You can't really see there, but from here, what I'm noticing as well as in the videos is when I march. So the first week I marched, my leg was out here with that knee bend, and now this week I can get it to that 90-degree angle, which is very good. I'm happy with that. And I kind of get up and do those every once in a while just to get it moving. But the last thing I'm going to touch on is the atrophy. There's nothing really you can do. My quad, I wouldn't have had the huge quads anyway, but my right quad is basically half the size of my left, and my left has gotten smaller at that as well. So pretty normal. I mean, it's been 9 weeks, 8 or 9 weeks since injury, probably 9 weeks. I think it was 5 weeks between injury and surgery. Yeah, it's been over 9 weeks, nearly 10. So my legs obviously are taking a big hit, but as I reintroduce stuff, the activation is coming back. Week 1 and 2, just to summarize, is very, very slow. The real things you'll notice is your ability to get off the crutches or not need them as much from the start of week 1 towards the end of week 2. For week 3, as I said, I had one crutch there with me if I needed it, but I didn't really need it too much. Week 3 is when I started to get a bit more mobile, and week 4 I've been very mobile, being able to move around. Sometimes I nearly trick myself into thinking I can chase the dog or I can react to something, but I have to remind myself not to. In terms of training, week 4, again, I know each week will get better and better, but week 4 has been a good week to training for me, and I expect this week to be just as good, week 5, as I'm coming in. Other points are, let's see, I think that's it really. Yeah, that's pretty much it. yeah, this is up on 20 minutes now, so there's no need to go further with it. Okay, I'm just going to leave it there. It was a bit of a all over the place, but I think it's just good to get a review in and talk about my experience with it. Hopefully, I'm hoping for this next month now, things will start to really pick up and I'll start to be fully mobile. Obviously, I can't bring my heel towards my bum yet. Straightening out is a bit of an issue for me, even though I'm working on it, but I know it'll come. It could be the 8 week mark before those things kind of come. So the plan for now is, for the first month, I met my physio once a week. And for the next month, I'm going to meet him once every 10 to 14 days. And probably for a month after that, it'll just be a monthly check-in and program updates. So yeah, that's everything. I hope this helps. And I suppose it's kind of good for me to document things as well, to see how far it comes on to the next one.